Hello, welcome to Crisis of Infinite Opinions, a monthly debate show where we cover various comic book topics as well as other media that are associated with them. But secretly, one of us is a bizarro with the wrong take, and it is your job as the audience to figure out who it is before we get to the end of the video and reveal the answer to you all.
Hi, I'm DinoMightyMiranda, your friendly neighborhood amateur Batman historian.
Hi, I'm Night the Werewolf Teacher. Fake werewolf, real teacher.
Hi, I'm Rena. I make way too long videos on way too short a platform.
Alright, today's episode topic is: should a superhero abide by a strict no-kill rule? Lots of superheroes have that, infamously Batman. The floor is yours to whoever wishes to take it first.
Okay, I need to bring this up. I think this is so stupid. But specifically, I think the discussion of no-kill rules is stupid. Because here's the thing. I honestly don't have that big a problem with no-kill, with superheroes killing in the context of, essentially self-defense. When you're fighting a villain and a villain dies in a fight, sure, you shouldn't execute villains, but it's so dumb to me that people are the morality of not killing because it's your responsibility if the villain breaks out and all this stuff, and it's this weird mid position of meta knowledge where the hero has enough meta knowledge to assume the villain's going to break out, but don't have the meta knowledge to realize death is nothing in the comic books they're in, right? It's this weird middle, in between. And I just think it's wild that we have to have discussions about whether or not unregulated vigilantes should be allowed to murder people. No.
There's also the matter of fact of yeah, maybe we trust Batman's moral judgment to determine who he should be or should not be allowed to kill. And yeah, maybe Batman is just that good of a person. But if Batman starts killing criminals, where does that set a precedent for other vigilantes who see Batman killing criminals and think, oh, I should also be allowed to do that too? And now all of a sudden you have way more vigilantes in this universe who think it's totally okay to kill criminals, even if they don't have the best moral judgment.
I think it's an issue of storytelling, right? It very much depends on the character. There are characters like Batman where it is arguably one of his key character traits that he doesn't kill people, right? It is, if you want to understand Bruce Wayne's moral philosophy, you have to understand that he's not gonna go around killing people, right? Other superheroes fight Nazis. I'm fine with that. That's a fun power fantasy, watching a bunch of Nazis die. So I do think it really does depend on the character. I think that, again, the problem goes, I agree with Rena, that part of the problem is that there's this weird idea that by choosing not to execute someone, you are therefore, the character is therefore assuming the responsibility of all that person's future actions, when it's no! In what world is that true? By that logic, then Commissioner Gordon has so much blood on his hands from not executing the Joker. That's not how it works. That's not how it works for anybody.
I've literally, ever since I was a kid, never got why you got the criminal justice system first and foremost,
Mm-hmm. Knight.
Yeah, so I agree with Miranda, very much so. There are heroes who I love who do kill people, Midnighter in particular, right? But he exists largely for catharsis, for that feeling of watching someone who would kill you, right? Who would do it for hate crime reasons, all right? To see them live in the fear that you live in, all right? But characters like Batman, it is, yeah. No, we should not be having the heroes who are stopping muggings, killing people, especially that. I think
at this point, since we're in such agreement on everything, I need to throw a wild card here in this situation, which is in an actual scenario of the Zack Snyder Man of Steel movie, where you have a ultra-powerful, supreme godlike alien who cannot be held in a prison cell, who will kill and will try to kill everyone on this planet. Should Superman, the beacon of hope and good in the universe, kill them?
All right, wait.
See, here's the thing. I wrote Zack Snyder's interview into my notes because I knew it was going to come up.
But
all right.
Go ahead, Knight.
I do want to finish things. I think, for me, the more interesting question about no-kill rules comes into why they exist, why a character has them, why don't they kill, right? And Batman has had a number of different reasons, from people following in his footsteps, to I am the son of a doctor, right? Like, and I think that is more interesting than just should he or should he not, but what reasons does he not? Like, I don't like the if I start killing, then I'll never stop killing. But like, I do like, but I do like, I am the son of a doctor. I value the sanctity of life. You know.
At the same time,
also...
there are a lot of 80s comics in particular where, like, people will bring up the smattering cases, but there are even more than the few pieces people might bring up, like out in Justice League versus Suicide Squad. Just randomly, Batman is so pissed off and angry, he genuinely beats up Rick Flag so viscerally that he has to go to the hospital or he will literally die. And this is Rick Flag. He's not a villain. He's just kind of a dick to Batman in this situation. And he beats him up so badly that the guy is almost going to die. It's like, Batman sometimes is kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Yes, Batman absolutely is sometimes a dick. But to get back to Zack Snyder, see, here's the thing. I think with Zack Snyder, that was an issue of imagination and storytelling. The moment that Zack Snyder decides, well, if you tell me a character doesn't kill, then I want them to kill. Then it's like, no, you did not do the homework. You did not take the time to understand the character, right? Like, it's one thing if you're creating a character, right? If you are creating a superhero character and you're just like, I'm going to put them in this really fucked up situation where they have to kill, right? It's another thing if you're inheriting a character that it's a key part of their character trait that they don't just murder people willy-nilly, and the one time they did it, they had like a whole existential crisis.
Like, I think he was trying to... Okay, I don't want to turn this into dissecting Man of Steel, but I think he is giving an existential crisis. I just think, like, he does scream. Like, he is fucked up, but then, like, the next scene, he's cracking jokes. Problem. Like, I think that, like, the movie has no more runtime. Like, it's the thing. And I generally... Man of Steel doesn't know whether or not it wants a Superman origin story or a subversion of Superman, and it doesn't make sense because it tries to subvert a character that it assumes you already understand while being the movie that is supposed to make you understand it, which is like, okay, whatever. But I think for me... Also, I think Man of Steel isn't like an execution. It's just kind of like he had to save that family of children, you know? Like, but all that to say, I don't like execution. I don't like that. But I think, like, I am generally okay with a hero killing someone in a firefight if that person is uber duper strong. I just don't think you should, like, put a shotgun to the back of their head.
I will point out that the instance of Superman killing a villain that cannot be contained and cannot be stopped, and then it proceeds to mentally scar Superman for the actions he's committed, that's straight up from the comics. That's literally a major key defining point in the 80s Superman run. Like
that's why I brought it up, and that is something that Zack Snyder's Superman doesn't really go through. He doesn't have real consequences after, like, snapping somebody's neck.
However, I will bring up that if we're going to suggest the idea that a superhero has the right to kill if the villain is of a perceived threat that they believe is someone to kill, where do we draw the line with accidentally murdering a civilian because you believed them to be a criminal that was posing a threat to you, as seen in the Mike W. Mike Grell Green Arrow run in the mid-90s.
I mean, you don't do that. I don't think that. I think that if you can't, what's the word here? If you are in a situation, the civilian appears to be a combatant, and you cannot, like, handle that situation without murder, you are not a good superhero. Like, we were talking about in the context of, like, fucking Zod, and it's like I'm not gonna mistake the Zod for a civilian because only one of them can shoot lasers. Like,
To be fair, most Kryptonians do look like humans.
Yeah, but like
you fire the killing shot after you have seen them shoot lasers from their eyes.
Yeah, like
can I actually bring up? Can I please? I'm so sorry. We can get back to that in just a tick. This is just very relevant to what Honey just said. Let's remember the time that like Superman couldn't hold his fear toxin and killed his wife. Like, here's.
Are you talking about Injustice?
Yes.
That's why you don't kill people.
Exactly. That's why you don't kill people.
Okay, in Superman's defense, I can't believe I'm saying this. He wasn't killing her. He took her to space because he thought he could fight Doomsday in space. He was trying to minimize collateral damage. But also, look, if you can't...
How many times has Batman been exposed to fear toxin? How many people has he killed while under the influence of fear toxin? Zero.
You cannot tell the difference between a combatant and a civilian. You are no better than a cop. And that's the end.
Fun fact, that story literally had a cop justify it.
That is one of my favorite reasons that I have never seen used as a reason for a no-kill rule. Like, I really do like the idea of someone saying, I'm not going to kill people because I'm not a cop. And not as in, because I don't have the legal authority to kill people, but because I am better than cops.
What about Barry Allen's case? What about Barry Allen's case where he justifies that he is allowed to kill people because he is a cop?
But he's a fucking criminologist.
A cop.
He's not that kind of cop.
Yeah.
He's the kind of cop that other cops dunk his head in the toilet.
I feel like Green Arrow should say that. Like, that's my vote for the villain who should, the hero who should.
The dream book that I want to read, not the one that I want to write, is I want anyone in Gotham. It doesn't have to be Batman. It could be anybody in Gotham to actually seriously say, like, hey, if what we do is harm minimization, right, and we're so against killing, then why are we cool with, like, those killers on the street? And then to have them start hunting down cops who just shoot people for the fuck of it.
I would also bring up that if you're going to bring up the realism of killing criminals because they can't be contained in prison, you also have to kind of bring up the realism of concussions and how the non-lethal methods of taking down criminals leads to severe brain damage and eventual suicide later down the line.
Sorry, I will say that whole, like, with the inability to contain Zod, I will say that's similar to the inability to contain the Joker.
I will state, because at this point I've mostly just been presenting arguments to people, and I should probably actually have an opinion of my own in this situation. I believe that murder is an inherent evil. However, I believe that it can be committed. It just needs to be acknowledged and punished as an inherent evil. So in the case of killing the Joker, I think that Batman should probably end up killing the Joker, but then should turn himself in for committing murder.
I think that... I remember now what I was going to say, and it was in response to concussions. I don't care, for two reasons. Well, I do care and I don't. So reason one is, in the fiction of the world, we have established that it doesn't matter, right? If we were in a more grounded superhero comic where concussions actually, like, kill people, then I 100% agree. But two, I think this is a big reason why I don't think a no-killing rule is a moral thing. Because, like, this is what I fucking hate, where it's, like, debating, like, you won't do what's right. And it's, like, this is a person who, like, leaves you tied up for the cops. This is a person that is sentencing you to the, like, American criminal justice system. Like, this is not, like, an amazing alternative to whatever, like, is going on. Like, and that, like, frustrates me so much, where it's, like, yeah, we should probably unpack the fact that, like, superhero comics have this weird obsession with violence that we put a Band-Aid over, where it's like, we'll do everything but, like, put you 6 feet under. It's just kind of like, it can be gross at times, and it can especially be gross the more physicality there is. Like Green Arrow fucking shoots daggers at people. Like, so Batman throws daggers at people. Like that's brutal.
To be fair, he throws exploding daggers at people.
Sometimes.
Only half of them are exploding.
Yeah,
Some
and
of them are not.
the others just
Sometimes
turn
the
into
daggers
instant
are
cement.
padded.
Some of them just turn into instant cement.
So I think that that's kind of my thing with no kill rules, right? Like you can talk about like the morality, the outside morality of having a piece of media where a character just extrajudicially murderizes people left and right. But what makes no kill rules interesting for me is what it says for the character's own morality, for what it says about their own ethic and their own philosophy of life, right? And that's why I think, I think if a character has a no kill rule, or if they have I only kill under these very specific set of circumstances, like I think that should be maintained because I view it as a character trait.
All right. Here's an ultimate question. What character should never, under any circumstances, no matter what, ever kill? I think, who do we think in that situation? Who is this line can never be crossed with this character?
I don't think Batman should ever kill, just because like a big part of why he does what he does is because he does have this hope that things can get better, right? Like he wants to fix Gotham. He wants people to make better choices. And if he kills someone, then he's completely removing that ability from them forever. And I think that goes completely against his character.
I also agree, just because, like, out of the Trinity, Batman is the only one who hasn't, like, killed before in a meaningful way. And I think at least one of those three should not have that ever as an option, Yeah.
For me, it's Batman, and while the personality trait aspect and like the storytelling aspect works, are both really good answers. For me, it's that there's so much messed up about the way Batman goes through things. If he were to kill people, that would make him because whenever they try to make a dark, gritty Batman, they just make him a cop who doesn't have to follow the rules. Mm-hmm. Right? Who doesn't need to follow any evidentiary procedures, doesn't need warrants, anything like that. And if you let him kill, then he is worse than any of the cops.
I mean, he is just a cop. like that's. I generally think. Okay, here's my hot take. For one, I think superheroes should beat up cops more. Because I think if Batman kicked the asses of more cops, people would stop calling him a cop. But I think that's the big issue, right? Where Batman's the world's greatest detective, right? And detectives are not juries, they're not executioners, they're not judges, and it's as simple as that. That's why I don't need really any more complex reasons. He doesn't kill because it's not his job.
In my opinion,
I'm just thinking though,
this is not a Trinity option for me. I'm just gonna go with Billy Batson.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A 10-year-old should not be killing people.
No, that's fair.
Even beyond the 10-year-old thing, because Captain Marvel is not a 10-year-old. Captain Marvel and Billy Batson are two separate characters, technically speaking. Captain Marvel should not kill because Captain Marvel is such a pure, concept character who exists as a pure embodiment of what heroism should be as a concept, that it spits in the face of that purity to have him kill.
Yeah, Billy Batson, I think by the end of Post-Crisis is 18 because he's the same age as Stargirl, explicitly. And I think that in that context, even then he shouldn't kill because he's what people think Superman is. He is purer than Superman. He's the guy that Superman aspires to be,
He's literally called Captain Wonderbread.
I have never heard that in my life.
I've heard the Big Cheese.
Big Cheese, Captain Wonderbread. He's got a lot of degrading nicknames about how kind and sweet he is.
It's the full sandwich.
He is such a ham.
Which is funny because we were talking earlier about killing Nazi, and he famously has the captain.
That's true. He does have Captain Nazi.
It's okay. He doesn't have to kill Captain Nazi because the Secret Six carved out Captain Nazi's eyes and are willing to kill him for him.
Stabbed heroin needles into them.
Is there any other... Okay, this is going to be a hot take, and I know I'm bringing it up. I don't think Green Lantern should kill because like Batman, he is so close to being a cop. I can't allow him to kill.
I have to argue for Wonder Woman. I genuinely hate the idea of Wonder Woman killing, and it's not even for like a code or like an ethics or anything. But while that is true the case, like she is an emissary of peace. She's about love. She's about compassion, which is just like there's no way somebody who has those ideals would kill. But also, Wonder Woman's whole style of combat, her whole method for incapacitating people, is submission. Genuinely, her whole method for taking down people is an entirely non-lethal, not even concussive, just pure non-lethal method of taking people down. And it's just like, it feels wrong for somebody who has dedicated such an explicitly non-lethal way of fighting to then go and kill somebody.
This is where we're hitting the sword. Fuck the sword. I hate the sword so much.
Oh god, yes. The Wonder Woman should never use the sword. Diana should always use the lasso. The lasso is her signature weapon.
So I think I like the idea of like that line where, you know, like they have something you don't, and her response is it a code against killing? But I also like the idea that while she hasn't like removed it from the table, because it is her last resort and her other methods are effective, like it's not like it is a tool in her tool shed she's never had to use.
Yeah, like she doesn't need a code against killing because Wonder Woman's already about finding the alternative at every. Like she already is about incapacitated non-lethally. She's already about trying to find a way. Like Wonder Woman, I cannot stress enough. Wonder Woman's arch nemesis is Cheetah, who's like a dear friend of hers. You know, like Wonder Woman's better.
He's great. One thing that I really do think like would lead to a really interesting like story conflict amongst the Trinity, right? Is you have Superman who just drops people off in like prison yards, right? You have Batman who leaves people tied up for cops with like Post-it notes to their forehead, right? And then you have Wonder Woman who practices a compassionate reform-based like the form of like not punishment. What's the word?
Rehabilitation,
thank you. Right, like that's her entire shtick, right? For the longest time she'd drive people back to her island so that they could be rehabilitated instead of just being imprisoned or punished.
Yeah,
I think they should come into conflict about that more.
One of her punishments is also getting hazed by the Holiday Girls, so you know.
One can be mean.
Oh, being hazed by the Holiday Girls is a Christmas treat compared to being hazed by Themyscira itself.
Yeah, see, you know, different levels.
I don't like the idea of characters just killing people willy-nilly, right? Like it is extrajudicial, and that does bother me. And I don't know what else to say about that. Like I think it's fun if you're in like a high fantasy setting, right? Or if you're in fighting Nazis, because I think that that's a moral good. Other than that, like I don't want to watch like a superhero crush the skull of a thief. Like, what's the point in that?
I mean, I think it's the simple context of like the book. You know, like books about like Nazis are typically war books. Books about like it's just if you were to have a story that's just a cop, I feel like I would have to accept like firefights and stuff like that. It's about setting the reader up to expect kills, and that's why I think discussions of no kill rules are stupid, because either you do it or you don't. That's it, right? Like either you live in a world where it's icky to kill people, you live in a world sense because of the kind of foes you fight.
Yeah. I was thinking about so both my favorite and least favorite season of Supergirl. I've talked about this at length a number of different times.
Mhm.
But I forget what season it is. I think it's like season 3 or 4. The villain is Agent Liberty, who has run this, who is running a xenophobic hate group that is killing aliens. Right? It was very like timely. It was we were seeing a rise in xenophobia. Right? I am the child of an immigrant. This like as a villain, he terrified me. Right? Like because I was seeing this stuff happen all around, like stuff like it that felt like it, right? Like this looked like 3 months into the future to me, right? And then this season also introduced Manchester Black, played by David Ayala, and Manchester Black, his girlfriend was an alien and she was fridged. We'll admit there was a fridging. But he decides to take on Agent Liberty and his followers by murdering them, right? And of course, Supergirl has a problem with this. All right. It does give us one of my favorite lines there is, which is, he's like, they go low, she goes high, not us. We put them 6 feet lower. I'm just like, damn, it was so cold. It was so good. But they take Manchester Black out before they take Agent Liberty out. Then, after they take out Manchester Black, who dies because of the weapon that he was using to defeat, he was going to use to defeat Agent Liberty, it's revealed that Lex Luthor is in league with some fantasy Russians, and that he is
Russians,
and that he has been funding Agent Liberty, and we have to deal with Red Daughter and the Russian storyline, and we don't deal with Agent Liberty until next season.
That is the thing that always frustrates me. Fucking hypocrisy of like, I think heroes that kill are not as bad as villains that kill. That's kind of the definition of villains, right? And if you're in a story where like there are no villains, it's fine. But it is kind of weird to attack. Manchester Black will stop killing people if Agent Liberty stops killing people. It's amazing, you know? 2 birds, 1 stone,
right?
Well, okay. So I will say, like, I was gonna bring that up as like a potential side topic that I don't think made it onto the list. But if a character has a no killing rule, right, do they have an obligation to stop other characters from killing that don't have a no kill rule?
That is a very interesting question, because you basically have if you have the ability to stop somebody from killing, but you let them kill, is that murder by proxy? Is that assisted murder? Is that assisting in the crime?
I think you are not allowed to let people kill when like go along, you know? Like there's that whole thing where like Ghostmaker does.
You need to get closer to your mic.
Oh, sorry.
You're coming in.
So I think you are not allowed on like a ride-along tip situation to just let someone kill. Like how there's a situation where Ghostmaker like doesn't kill when like Batman's like around, or like when he's working with the Bat family, but like
right? Professional courtesy.
Yeah, and like I think similarly, it's like you are complicit if you're just like you're fighting through goons and like Green Arrow is shooting holes in them, and you're just like, oh, but whatever. Like, no, that's not allowed. But also, I think like you probably shouldn't be like fucking flying over to Themyscira and like kicking Wonder Woman's ass because she killed someone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think like again, I think it really much does depend on like the character. I think I agree, if it's like a ride-along situation, then you should probably follow the stricter moral code than like your own, just because like you do have professional courtesy within the caped community, right?
I remember.
I think someone is associated with you, right? Like if you guys share a public, like an association within the public, like through branding, through some form of like formalized relationship, then I do think you have an obligation to police yourself in that instance, right? That's why I think that it was wrong that Batwoman shoots Clayface in that Detective Comics story, because she does wear a bat on her chest. The thing that her actions as Batwoman affect the rest of them in Gotham City. Right? And if your actions are going to
Ooh.
You good?
Yeah, sorry, I accidentally clicked the button.
Okay. Yeah, so like I think that if you are associated with other characters, then I think like you do need to police your own community, because like that person's actions are going to affect you and your ability to be a superhero, right? So if Batwoman killing someone with a bat on her chest, that affects the rest of the bats because they are associated with her. If she's willing to kill, then who's to say that the rest of them aren't willing to kill?
What about in the situation where the killing superhero is the already established hero of the city, and it's a no-kill hero who enters and becomes a part of that city? Because in each of these situations we're discussing here, these are killing heroes entering the territory of a no-kill hero, and we're just saying, oh, they should probably respect the existing status quo of the person who already lives here, respect their rules, but should the no-kill hero also respect the boundaries and the rules of the killing hero?
Batman on a mission with, I don't know, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, if Batman ends up having to collaborate
Batman's not going to respect anyone's rules but his own. Let's be real here.
Okay.
That's fair.
But, like, say...
I think sorry.
Say Wonder Woman travels to a city where Manchester Black is doing a whole, like, killing the bad guys all over the place situation here. And should Wonder Woman have the obligation to stop Manchester Black in his own territory that he controls, or should she respect his territory the same way he has respected other people's territory?
I think you are, like, if you are working in the city, as long as you're working in the city and you're working with other people, you're complicit in that. Like, if they are teaming up together, sure. I think it's different to be a guest spot than, like, you becoming a sidekick that doesn't kill, or, like, a member of a superhero family that kills then you don't kill. And I think in that context, it's like, it's fine, you know, like, you gotta get sometimes you gotta brand yourself with people who suck, you know, like, I think that's kind of, sometimes you just need the symbol to get your name out there. But if you're like a guest in the city and you're standing on your own 2 feet, I don't think because, like, people die. Like, that's the problem here, you know? Like, you can't just be like, oh, I didn't see that. That doesn't work.
Right. Like, if it's happening right in front of you, then, you know, you have the same obligation as you would have if there was a car accident in front of you.
So in that situation, then, though, if the no-kill hero still retains a moral obligation to stop a killing in a killing hero's territory, shouldn't the killing hero in turn also have a moral obligation to kill a psychopathic murderous supervillain in a city with a no-kill superhero?
Not while being associated with the no-kill superhero, because again, one person's actions affect the group.
So isn't this a double standard at this point?
Well,
I don't think it's a double standard, because murder is still wrong within the context of most comic books. Like, no one likes Frank Castle.
I think you cannot compel someone to. You cannot say that someone has a moral duty or that someone must kill or must abide by killing. I think like this kind of goes back to the whole, you know, you're just as bad as Joker if he escapes, right? Because that would imply you have a moral duty to kill him. But you cannot have a moral duty to do something which is evil.
Okay, but the problem is that people who kill wouldn't necessarily see it as an evil, or they would see it as an acceptable.
Your argument is based on the premise that the killing superheroes still inherently share the same moral outlook as the no-killing heroes.
I think okay, so here's my argument for why this is okay. Because killing is a permanent solution, you are imposing a permanent issue on that. You have a difference in opinion, right? And essentially, the not killing is tabling the opinion later, and the killing is putting a definitive end and therefore imposing your decision, your permanent decision on both. And that's my argument for why you can't kill when working.
Okay.
Also, just like, image-wise, not killing someone isn't going to hurt the image of killing hero, but killing will hurt the image of killing hero.
True.
What about the Robot Chicken episode, where Batman refuses to kill the Joker, so he instead uses his influence as Batman to encourage the courts of Gotham to institute the death penalty on the Joker? If he's actively using his influence in this example, not just that he arrests him and the courts decide to do it.
No, okay. So actually, I do like this question.
Okay.
I've honestly had this thought as a story, not that part, not the him having the influence, but if the scenario of a death row inmate escapes and is coming through Gotham, right? And pleads with Batman not to send him back to prison to face death, right? He's okay with being in prison somewhere else for the rest of his life. He just doesn't want to be executed, right? Does Batman return? And that, I think Batman would. I don't like the idea that he would, though.
I don't think modern Batman would. I think Batman of the 70s, abso-fucking-lutely, in a heartbeat, would not even shed a tear. Right? But I do think, that ties into, right, like, how Tim Drake was going to, quote-unquote, like, kill Captain Boomerang, right? Where he set it up where if Captain Boomerang made a series of wrong decisions, which because he doesn't have a high opinion of Captain Boomerang, he thought he would, right? Captain Boomerang dies. And I still hold that is not murder, all right? If you set a fire in a building and then someone chooses to run in there, is that really your fault? Like,
I
no.
think actively, intentionally setting a, Rube Goldberg thing to get someone to die is still conspire. At minimum, it's conspiring for murder.
Yeah,
conspiracy, absolutely. I will agree with that.
I will say, setting a building on fire is a felony arson, and if someone dies, that is felony murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also,
I think it's like if someone's in the building and you didn't know about them, then abso-fucking-lutely. If the fire's been going for 10 minutes, everyone knows there's a fire happening and someone still goes in.
Yes, I know, but a firefighter is doing job to run in.
But also, is arresting a criminal and then using political influence to institute the death penalty the same thing as just executing them on the streets themselves?
Well, no, because
I think that's between you and God.
It's no longer extrajudicial, so it removes a lot of the issues with killing already, right? It removes the reputation, it removes the extrajudiciality, it removes the there was no other way because they are already in prison. So it removes those. It does not remove some of the others, right? And I generally think, hot take, I do not think the government should be allowed to kill people.
Same. I'm very much against the death penalty.
Yeah.
But I think it's significantly less of an issue. Do I think that when a victim's family pushes for the death penalty in a case that they're killing someone? No. I think it's kind of morbid, and I think it's bad. But I don't think Batman would. I think if Batman was knowingly doing it to avoid his no kill, then by virtue of trying to get out of it on a technicality, he was violating it, Mm-hmm. But if Batman was legitimately this one's got a crack, then I think it would not fine, but not,
Yeah, it really depends on what did Batman do to pressure the courts to get him the death penalty, Like,
Right. If him pressuring the courts is him presenting actual evidence, then
Like,
I'm
here's
sorry. That's
my
not on
question.
him.
but if he's like packing the jury with like with people to get him executed, then we
Okay.
He's
got
like, I see
Here we
here
go.
that you made a blog
It's
post
Superman.
about how all shoplifters should be shot. I think you are just right for this jury.
Superman is the one who does this. He puts op-eds in the Daily Planet. He does interviews on live TV suggesting it. I think that's a different situation, therefore it's a clearer cut. And like, I think if you here's the alternative example. If you cheer someone on while they are doing a crime and they go to commit crimes, you can be held liable for that as like an accomplice. So like, you're not going to get charged with murder, but you will be charged with like accomplice or conspiracy. Those are my rules.
Right, but the death penalty is a legal form of murder. It's not like you're committing a crime by encouraging the courts to institute the death penalty.
Well, yeah, but
But if you, but no one knows if it's gonna be like death penalty. Like there's certain crimes that like you can kind of say like it'll probably be death penalty, but the judge at the end of the day could still like hoodwink you and be like life in prison, right?
Well,
or 20 years. You know.
Well, I agree. So I'm talking about in the context of like your rule isn't the law, and like the law doesn't necessarily matter. I'm just saying like if you were to be put on trial on whether or not you violated your own personal code, it is not a violation. It is a conspiracy to violate, or it is an accomplice to violate. You know?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But
So I think if Batman is bribing the judge and like the jury, then yeah, that's kind of murder there. But if he's just putting someone in a situation where they probably will die, I don't view that the same. I view it as conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This is not on the docket. I'm just gonna ask this question anyway. Who are some characters that you think should kill but haven't yet?
I think anyone should.
Yes, somebody
Yeah,
who I think that I should kill this character. I should kill this supervillain of mine. I have the moral right to, but they don't have like the Batman level no kill rule hard and fast thing. They haven't actually killed yet in the past, but you think they should kill.
should or would. Let's add would as
Would.
well, because like
I think
a lot of us have said we don't think they should, but some of them would.
I think Booster Gold should like narratively. I think killing fits him. That's all. That's my opinion. That's kind of baseless, but that's just the vibe I get. You know.
Mm-hmm. I don't actually think
he does have the iron tight like alibi of like what? He's already dead by the time I was born.
Oh my God! Everyone is dead to him, so he doesn't. Oh God.
I'm going to argue for so this is, I'm assuming, going to make a writer very happy. I think Adam Strange actually should kill. I think that while in his actual original comics he very much makes an effort to not kill a lot of people in his storylines, almost always using a non-lethal method. Adam, you are dealing with active alien invaders and conquerors who are absolutely going to return a second time to try and do the exact same thing they did the first time around, and these are geopolitical problems. These are not courts of law or situations like that. You are also dealing often with fantastical cosmic forces like living tornadoes. You should be allowed to kill at least one of these people.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm thinking about just how many actually technically did during the invasion arc. Actually,
Oh, that's an interesting point. Is it breaking the no-kill rule if you are actively serving in the military while you are doing it?
because like there's the invasion arc where like they actually do treat it like a war. Like the JLI like killed a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
What's that? There's that Hemingway quote that's like, "Never forget war is a crime, no matter how justified." You know, like in the same way that Honey said before, it's always murder. It's just, is this murder something that like is going to have the consequences of violating the no-kill rule? And I don't necessarily think that killing in a war scenario means it makes it easier to kill willy-nilly after the fact, you know?
Was Batman's involvement as a key strategist and affiliate in the War Council for the invasion breaking the no-kill rule because his actions led to directly led to other superheroes following his strategies to kill alien invaders?
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's a tough one.
I think that is. I can fully believe that Batman would would go to bed at night being like, I murdered so many people today. I need to cry into my Bat diary. Right? Over that, like, I think that Bruce would put that upon himself. I think that's part of the reasons why, like, he does struggle to control, like, various other members of the Bat family and their lethality. But I don't know. I haven't read the Invasion arc, and I'm a pacifist, so I do think that, like, war is an inherent evil in the world, that we just try to find ways to justify to make ourselves feel better when we do it. But at the same time, I don't necessarily know if, like, you write a plan and then somebody uses that plan to kill somebody, if that's necessarily on the writer's, conscience.
It's not just that he wrote a plan, it's that he wrote a plan with intention to, like, lead people to execute that plan.
Yeah, like, he had authority to order people to carry out the plan that he executed.
Yeah. And you know, like you said, like, it's all justification. I think this is more a discussion about the narrative potential of these things, you know? And I don't think it messes with narrative ability if you do a little bit of all. Like, I don't think Batman loses the high ground with Huntress. Maybe he does, actually. Actually,
that would be an interesting debate.
Yeah. I always felt that Batman's no-kill rule did not extend to non-humans, but that's just me.
Oh, yeah, no, that's part of my struggles with the Court of Owls as a concept is the fact that, like, Batman has no problem killing the Talons, even though the Talons are victims from childhood on.
Aren't the Talons technically immortal?
Not if you decapitate them hard enough.
But okay, I think we've gotten to the point where Miranda can ask her silly little question, so lay it on us.
Thank you. So, we're all familiar with the concept of a hall pass, right? Like, it's a free pass. Which superhero should have a hall pass for one specific character to murder? Just as a little treat, right? They face absolutely no consequences, right? Not legal consequences, not ethical consequences, not consequences in terms of public personas. Like, they can kill this person and they go to bed at night as though they didn't kill anybody at all.
I've been thinking about this. The easy one's like Joker, you know?
Yeah, everyone will pick the Joker.
Yeah, I have an answer for this. I want to go last though because I think it's hilarious.
The problem is, like, there's a line to how many people should be allowed to kill Joker. I'm gonna vote on Barbara Gordon, like the person who should be allowed to.
Okay, I would argue, Dick Grayson should absolutely be allowed to murder Tarantula.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think Stephanie Brown should be allowed to murder her dad.
Valid. Absolutely valid.
That's a good one. All right. I think absolutely everyone should be allowed to murder Multiplex. All right? I think Multiplex is the hall pass. All right? Here's the thing about Multiplex is a supervillain who can multiply himself. His name is Dalton Black. And here's the thing: if you kill one of them, there's still a Dalton Black in the world. He still exists.
But there is a Dalton Black in hell now. We established
Yes,
that.
there are also canonically every single one of them goes to hell. We'll say that.
Hell is full. Hell is full, and it's all Dalton Black.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You are not actually. You are still murdering Dalton Black when you kill him. It's like saying, "Oh, I have a twin brother, so it's okay to kill me because my twin brother exists over there."
Yeah. Like,
Alternatively,
the reason why I know that
if you
Dalton
get
Black goes to hell is
convicted of
because
murdering someone, and then it comes out that they're not dead, do you get a free pass to murder them? I say yes.
That is actually called Double Jeopardy, and it's a really good movie.
I've watched it.
Alright. I think. Well,
What
hear
is
me out.
yours, Miranda?
Effectively, are there
Stephanie
more?
Brown, you said Stephanie Brown.
Are there more Dalton Blacks in? Like, is that? It's confusing the fact that all the dupes go to hell.
Yeah.
They all have souls, Rena.
They're
They're all
all-
ensouled.
So he could just
They all
manufacture souls. Why doesn't Dalton Black should like make a whole bunch of duplicates and sell the souls of each of the duplicates to like a demon to get like infinite power? I would read a story arc about that.
That
where
is
like
brilliant.
where Multiplex just takes over hell by having like infinite contracts.
No, wait. I want the other side of that too, though. I want hell dealing with soul inflation.
Okay, but what about the concept of that Dalton Black's souls all go to hell because Dalton Black himself is eventually destined to go to hell, and then Dalton Black like becomes a born-again Christian, converts, and has like his soul cleansed through purification through baptism, and so all of Dalton Black's souls that are in hell suddenly all go up to heaven all at the same time.
After he's used all that power for whatever.
It's just an angel weeping, just crying about the paperwork.
And then
Why did they allow this exception? God.
okay, but
I want that alien saying, "God damn it! Why did we allow that exception?"
fucking Necron like planning to overload hell with so many Dalton Blacks that it just overfilled.
Moses, and all the devils are here.
Yeah. It's like drown the devils in Dalton Blacks.
But okay, so the question now has become, who do we believe is the Bizarro of this episode? Leave a comment down below on who you think it is. I personally, I don't think we got a Bizarro. I think all of us just gave. It was just way too nuanced everywhere around the board. I think we got one of those lucky episodes where no one was the Bizarro.
Same.
I also think like most of us are against killing, except for Nazis.
Hot take is bad.
So I don't think any of us are.
So
Yeah.
Miranda, do you have any
Miranda?
idea?
I don't think I never think anyone is the Bizarro. I just choose someone on the screen because I have to.
Fair enough. Well then, will the real Bizarro please stand up? Will the real Bizarro please stand up? Yep, we were all good. Sorry, everybody. There's no Bizarro this week.
We increased the odds too.
Yeah. Otherwise, my name is Honey Ham. I run this channel on Off the Shelf, and you can find me on Twitter at HoneyHam17. Miranda, how can they find you?
Hi, I'm DinoMightyMiranda on TikTok. I'm your friendly neighborhood amateur Batman historian. Dino is in dinosaur, Mighty is in Mighty Mouse Miranda. That's my name. Don't wear it out. You can also subscribe to a Patreon that doesn't exist for this channel. Night, how can people find you?
You can find I'm Night the Werewolf Teacher, fake werewolf, real teacher, and you can find me on Instagram, Threads, Twitter reluctantly, Tumblr occasionally, and most often on TikTok. Rena, where can they find you?
Hi, I'm Rena. You can find me on TikTok as RockRFree. There's no S. The S was taken. You can also find me at 9 p.m. EST on Twitch and YouTube as I'm part of the Ash the Fantastic Friends live stream. We go pretty late, but you don't need to stay for the whole thing. And then also me and Miranda stream every other week on Sundays on TikTok where we talk about Batman and Green Lantern and the history of comic books. So.
See you all next time. Bye.
Bye.